Hello, my name is Per Kristoffer Undheim and I'm the product manager for dbWatch Control Center. Prior to this, I've been a DBA for 15 years on Oracle and SQL Server. Today's topic is database monitoring and management. Manage more, better, and for less. Firstly, I'll talk quickly about dbWatch. dbWatch has provided database monitoring and management solutions for healthcare, finance, managed service providers, and other sectors since 2001. dbWatch focuses on solutions for efficient management and monitoring of multi-platform database server farms, from a handful of instances to thousands of instances in complex hybrid or enterprise-wide networks. When we talk to DBAs from around the world, they face a lot of common issues. And it could be that it's the day-to-day tasks that are too time-consuming, performance issues are challenging, there is no log or history of what happens, they are faced with costly tools that are both resource-hungry and takes a lot of time to learn and master. And if you have multiple tools on multiple platforms, it's hard to maintain the knowledge and competence to use them all well. In dbWatch, we unify all the platforms and all the tools into one easy-to-use solution that dramatically reduces the DBA workload and improves productivity. It covers all the database operations from monitoring, management, and performance tuning to reporting, deploying maintenance jobs, and much more. Together, this provides the best solution to reduce DBA workload and promote efficiency. It's a cost-effective solution to deploy and maintain with a quick return on investment. When I started out as a DBA, this could have been the normal workload for me. Just 4 database instances to look after. And many databases didn't need to work out of office hours. But now times have changed. Now more and more data is gathered and used, and all applications need a database. Today, DBAs have a lot of database systems to care for, and it's expected that the database systems, as they are key infrastructure in the business, is working 24/7. They're expected to be working all the time, just like water and electricity. So there's a pressure for the DBAs to manage more and more database instances and to optimize DBA time with the right tools. But to cover all the needs of the DBA, many tools have been created to assist and to make the DBAs more effective. However, this multitude of tools also has its own costs. Typically, there are tools that themselves are costly, but they also bring costs in training and maintaining knowledge across multiple tools. If you also have environments with multiple database platforms, you often need a new set of tools. And all these add to the cost of database operations. If our goal is to make database operations efficient as we can, we need to consolidate the tools into one solution to save costs and become more efficient. dbWatch Control Center is a software solution to make database operations more effective. We integrate all the multiple tools together in one, a cross-platform and cost-effective solution. dbWatch Control Center has an architecture to span and support multi-site setups and work in a multitude of scenarios. We provide cross-platform, advanced database monitoring that integrates directly into a management solution to fix critical issues rapidly and to analyze performance issues. We provide dashboards for capacity planning and getting a bird's eye view of how all your database systems are working. We have automated maintenance jobs that maintain your system at peak performance, an advanced cross-database and cross-platform reporting platform to create reports for management and other key stakeholders. We have world-leading security and access control, and provide integration functionality to get a perfect fit to other systems in use. dbWatch uses JDBC to connect to all the database instances you monitor, so no agent is required on the database server. If you have complicated networks and want to limit JDBC connections through the network, you can have multiple dbWatch servers in different environments working together to provide monitoring for those instances. Typically, a multi-site system could have one dbWatch server in each data center or each cloud security zone. dbWatch Control Center is designed to be flexible and able to fit many different network and security setups. It has an encrypted mesh network between the dbWatch servers, so all your systems in all your environments can be covered. From systems which uses just one database instance to thousands of database instances spread between data centers and cloud systems all around the world. If desired, the client software can be connected to all of these systems at once, providing a secure connection with all your databases with audit capabilities. dbWatch supports Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, and Sybase. Regardless if the database system is in your local environment or in AWS or Azure. With complete tool integration, you can quickly go from issue detection to correcting the issue, while the monitoring section is keeping track of changes and thresholds. It also collects historical data, which can provide an in-depth detailed report with history on how this metric is performing. So you know what happened and if something is a repeating issue that needs further investigation. You can jump directly from the monitoring of the instance to management to fix it on the database systems. It's a much more efficient way of managing database instances. No time is wasted switching between tools, logging into computers, remembering passwords, and much less time analyzing the problem. One of the cornerstones to database operations is knowing what is happening on the database instance and reacting on situations that are outside the thresholds. This is covered in the monitoring section of dbWatch, which brings many unique features into monitoring your database instances. dbWatch is uniquely focused on making the job of DBA easier and more productive. Based on our years of experience providing database monitoring to customers all around the world, both large and small, we have a large repository of monitoring jobs that covers both the basics and more advanced setups. These jobs are then configured with best practices thresholds out of the box to allow for a quick deployment. You get a centralized system to distribute monitoring jobs with version control and upgrading the jobs built in. All the jobs are provided as open code, and there is a built-in editor that allows you to develop your own monitoring jobs and to customize the provided jobs. Regardless of your database environment and how it's structured, dbWatch suits both smaller installations as well as thousands of database instances across multiple security zones. It also has cross-platform support, so other database types can be monitored as well. And regardless of version and whether you deploy it in the cloud or on-premise, get everything in the same interface. You can also create your own custom monitoring templates to make sure that the jobs are installed and set up and configured consistently across a large set of instances. The starting point for database monitoring is the status overview. It helps you to get a quick overview of how your environment is doing. And by a glance, you can see that we have lost connection to one instance. 8 instances have at least one job in alarm status. 4 instances have at least one job in warning status. And 15 instances have no warnings or alarms. It's also possible to add instances for management and reporting purposes only, but currently no instances are added, but not monitored. The top issue list also helps you to prioritize what issues needs to be looked into first. The issues are sorted by severity and status time, so we can focus on the worst, oldest issues first. You can yourself create other lists and dashboards that sort issues in other ways to help prioritize your efforts. When we go into an individual instance, we have an overview dashboard for the monitoring jobs installed on that instance. In dbWatch, we try to avoid what we call alarm fatigue. This means that you have too many warnings or alarms, which results in the DBA being overwhelmed and not able to fix the critical issues. We split between jobs with status and jobs without status. And jobs without status are typically monitoring that gathers capacity or performance data that we can use for capacity management or tuning later on. Only the metrics that needs alarms are created as jobs with status. They are by default configured with reasonable thresholds so that they send alarms at the right time to respond. In this overview, you can also see a short details of the status information for the last time the job was run. Each of the job collects historical information and more in-depth information about their metric, which is available if you right-click on the job and select details. They can also be configured with different thresholds and scheduled to best suit the way you want this monitored. There's a large repository of monitoring jobs that can be added, and each job stores historical data, provide reports, and have version control. Compatibility is resolved automatically, so different versions of SQL Server or on-premise and cloud solutions can have different sets of monitoring jobs, depending on what is available on that platform. It's also possible for end customers to add their own jobs into this system and extend what is offered out of the box. We recognize that in larger environments, one of the key factors in making database operations more effective is to control what you monitored and how you monitor your systems to be as consistent as possible. In dbWatch, we provide the possibility to create templates on how a set of systems are monitored and adjusted. This covers both processes for detecting issues, capturing capacity and performance planning data, deploying and configuring maintenance routines and other automatic adjustment jobs. You can create multiple templates that can be overlapping. You can start with a base template and then have a production template or maintenance template deployed on top of that. dbWatch will make sure all the database systems stay consistent with the template, greatly reducing manual overhead and also maintaining more systems with a similar setup, which greatly reduces errors and time spent correcting problems. While we gather historical data and create alerts in the monitoring section, management is where the DBA focuses on action. We integrate historical data and alarms from the monitoring to help with overview and workflow. Management is a central way to control and adjust your database instances. The integration of a full management tool with monitoring is key to improving the workflow by reducing the time wasted on logging in, starting new tools, remembering password, or jumping through jump servers to be able to access the database instances. The effectiveness gained here are greatly increased by the size of the environment and the complexity of the network. You can also set up the management so that some users can see what is going on without being able to do changes to the system. This can be important if you have developers that need to be able to compare behavior in test and development systems with the behavior in the production systems. You can give them full access to development and test systems, but only read-only access to production, limiting the problems that developers can cause on production systems. Also, having all the database platforms in one similar interface for managing will greatly increase the possibilities for DBAs to support platforms they are less familiar with. If you have a company with some SQL Server and some Oracle DBAs, they can be more effective with overlapping capabilities to correct issues. We combine daily ease of use with customizability to allow the end-user add-ons such as dashboards and menus and buttons. Management provides a lot of capabilities for the day-to-day work of the DBA. You can get overview of the current state of the database instance. You can drill down and look at and adjust areas such as configuration parameters, SQL performance, server activity, session load, disk and memory usage, backups, error logs, blocking state and history, databases, data files, schema contents, security and users, SQL Server jobs, and a lot more. Having this integrated is a real time saver, where a DBA won't need jump servers, log into individual systems, find the right password, find the right tools, find the right SQL statements to do the job. There is also a complete audit of all the DL and DML statements done through Control Center to improve with security and control. While it's of course jobs that creates alert and report of individual disk usage, but to work with capacity planning for your SQL Server database farm, you need dashboards and reporting on top of all the database instances you manage. So this allows you to look into things like disk usage across all your servers in one single dashboard, estimate where disks will be filled with current growth, and dive into detailed information in each database instance if you want to see how this is happening. In SQL Performance section in management, we can quickly analyze SQL queries that are running in the database instance. Gathering and processing SQL statistics is handled separately from the database vendor licensing and is flexible across database versions. The top graph displays the timeline where you can see how logical and physical reads and writes are performing. This makes it easy to spot peaks in database load. The middle table displays SQL handles and their statistics during this time period or similar SQL queries, where we can compare and combine almost identical queries that could by their own not consist of a large performance issue, but could do so together. The bottom graphs are used to display other performance metrics in the same time frame, such as elapsed times that combine the query time in the time period, indicating load, waits history, transaction log usage, data cache, session loads, checkpoints, lazy writes, and temp DB usage. Within the time frame selected, you can use the mouse to select shorter time frames to investigate. Once you release the mouse button, this selection here will change the contents of the SQL handle statistics table and all other graphics in the dashboard. This allows you to drill down into issues and identify what handles are causing impact. When we look back at the overview of SQL handles for this period, we have a lot of information in the table itself. Records is the number of times we've seen this query. DB is the database the query was run in. Typically for procedures in a database, it can be empty for cross-database queries and queries that SQL Server does not store information about the database for. We tag queries that is part of dbWatch, and we list the first and last execution time for this query, numbers of executions, elapsed times, rows, logical reads, logical writes, and physical reads in the time period. We also flag queries that could be missing an index. This is an example of a procedure where we can see it consists of many SQL statements. This is the individual selects, inserts, updates, and delete statements that make up the procedure. Here you can see their individual impact if there is any missing indexes to either of those queries. Right-click on any SQL query and you can choose to open the SQL query text, open SQL statements with graphs and statistics, show missing indexes if there are any, open the query plan in XML format for further analysis, or open the query plan directly in SQL Server Management Studio. This is how the SQL statement and statistics view, and This is opening the plan in SQL Server Management Studio with also missing index information. dbWatch is a software solution to make database operations more effective. It's a full-featured enterprise software that makes monitoring, management, reporting, and much more across multiple database platforms. One key focus is combining the tools and structuring the workflow to optimize DBA time and the time they spend solving problems and keeping the systems running. And one area of this is the automation and maintenance jobs. In dbWatch, you get a maintenance job library ready to go, one that is supported. It is a central deployment of maintenance routines. We have built-in version control, upgrading, and scheduling. There is a built-in editor to create your own routines. There are routines to automatically adjust settings to offload routine work for the DBA. And you get dashboards to monitor the progress and deployment of routines. And you get dashboards to gain unique insight into what actual impact the maintenance jobs have in your environment. The built-in job library has many jobs for things such as automating DBCC checks, index and statistics management, log maintenance, and a lot more. This is an example maintenance routine dashboard for the reorganize index job, where we get one line for each database instance that this is installed and running on. We can quickly spot 4 instances that might have issues, and all of these have indexes that are too large for the configured thresholds. You don't want an automatic index rebuild or reorganizing job to select very, very, very large indexes to rebuild, which can impact performance. So that is where this threshold is set in place. You can quickly right-click and choose to configure to adjust the thresholds. And while there exists a lot of maintenance routines created both internally by the DBA companies or provided free or from the internet, you will need to spend a lot of time on the maintenance of these routines and the deployment and the upgrading and the monitoring of their progress and adjustments of thresholds without having this integrated into your database operation solution. With Control Center, we focus on making this easy to get the benefits from proper maintenance of your database instances with increased uptime and less critical issues without you having to spend the time and effort in maintaining the maintenance of your database instances. dbWatch also have a reporting engine. It is focused on creating static reports, typically in PDF or HTML format, where we provide a set of report templates with the product, and you can create your own reports in the report editor. Because this is not only for reporting on database instance uptime or backup statistics, it can be used to report on anything across your database instances. With the built-in report editor, this allows end users to create their own reports on anything from all their databases. It can be data from just one database or data that is merged from multiple databases or even multiple database platforms and displayed together with various text and graphic report items. The reporting is used to offload the DBA from having to manually gather information and creating reports that is repeating. I've yet to work as a DBA somewhere where I didn't have to repeatedly create reports for others. So if you are tasked with reporting any information that are available from the databases, this can be automated with the report scheduler so that you create the report once and Control Center schedules and send the report to management, key account managers, or other stakeholders. As part of the monitoring of the database instances, we collect a lot of historical performance and capacity data that can be used in these reports as well. We know that the larger and more complex the company is, the more importance there is on making sure only the right people have access to the right data at the right time. Are you giving consultants passwords to the database? Are you allowing developers access to production data, which they sometimes must look at, with also giving them the power to destroy production data? In dbWatch, you can assign rights to run SQL queries and access the database instance without giving away the password to the database instance. And you can give developers access to read-only dashboards, or actually almost any fine-grained access scenarios through dbWatch that you can think of. Everything complete with audit of all database operations. All with secure communication between the client and the dbWatch server. Although dbWatch Control Center provides a lot of functionality, it's easy to get started. Timelines here are estimates based on customer complexity, environment size, time spent waiting for firewall openings, servers, and other external resources. Software installation, including the setup of multiple clients, can be done in a day. In a typical setup for 25 database instances, this could be possible to add in a day, given that the customer has firewall openings and host information and privileges to allow control center access. Once this is completed, the instances have a default set of monitoring jobs and thresholds, and it's usually a 2-day job to adjust this and clear initial alarms on the system. After the software is in place, we schedule product workshops in 2-hour sessions where we go through the application in more detail for the intended users. Once initial product workshops is done, after a period of using the product, we schedule follow-up workshops in 1-hour sessions where we go through questions and show how to use the product based on the experience the users now have. After this period, dbWatch provides a support service staffed with experienced DBAs that can help with any issues you discovered. We have a video library and wiki documentation as well. There is, of course, many details we could go into, but using dbWatch instead of other monitoring solutions, you get a solution that is designed specifically for the database operations focus in mind. It's easy to deploy and live with. You get a feature set that it's both easy to use for smaller environments, but also includes features that larger enterprise customers need. It combines a large set of job repository out of the box with great ways to include your own IDs and specific monitoring needs into a product packaging. You get historical data for trend analysis, and also the farm data language dashboards and analytics capabilities that give you greater insight into how your database farm is running. You get one solution for all your database operations needs. So when you add cloud solutions or other database platforms, you will be covered. And dbWatch have 20 years in the business of monitoring database instances with customers all around the world. If you have any questions to this or want to reach out to learn more about the product, please feel free to contact sales@dbwatch.com or me directly at per@dbwatch.com. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. dbWatch Control Center, redefining database operations. Please visit us at Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube.